Welcome to Gardening with Ben, your go-to podcast for all things green and growing in 2025. Whether you're a seasoned gardener, a budding enthusiast, or just curious about cultivating your own slice of nature, you're in the right place. Join me, Ben, as we explore practical tips, inspiring stories, and the latest trends in gardening to make your outdoor space bloom with life. From allotment adventures to wildlife-friendly gardening, I'm here to help you grow your passion and reap the rewards. So grab your gloves, roll up your sleeves, and let's get started on this year's gardening journey. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Gardening with Ben for another brand new episode for 2025. Well, I do enjoy doing this episode because I learn something at the same time as you. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about all the things that you can plant in January. Fingers crossed, you've got a chance to be able to plant them. If it's bad weather, we'll have to wait until later. But most of these things we can get started in January. Now, I talk about all the vegetables that we can plant this month, all the fruit plants that we can plant this month, and all the flowers that you can plant this month. So if you've not got a pen and paper, feel free to make some notes. Go and grab a notepad, make some notes, and why not try growing some of these things yourself? As most of these things I will be growing as well down at the allotment. Now, the first thing we talk about is the vegetables. What vegetables can we plant this month? Obviously, it all depends on the weather, whether you can actually get down to the allotment or in the garden to be able to fulfill these jobs. And if I've seen the forecast right, we are going to get some snow this weekend, so possibly not. So the first thing on the list is broad beans. Now, broad beans can be sown from the winter, and these will be ready to harvest before the black fly appear. So you won't get them covered in black fly like you do in the summer if you grow them through the summer period. They'll be ready to harvest before they appear. Now, the variety that you would need to plant are Aqua Dulce Claudia. These are a winter hardy variety that can withstand the cold weather. You can either plant them straight in the ground or start sowing them in pots for transplanting later. Onions, sets and seeds. Onions can be sown from seed in January for late summer harvest. This method allows for a wider variety of onions compared to sets. Varieties like Bedfordshire Champion are ideal for overwintering. Start your seeds indoors in trays or modules and transplant into the garden when the weather improves. Now, obviously, if you're growing them indoors, make sure they get enough light or they'll grow a legate and you'll just have to chuck them away and start them again. So make sure they get plenty of light so that they grow nice and strong. Next up is shallots. Like onions, shallots can be started from seed in January. They produce smaller bulbs with a sweeter flavour, perfect for roasting or adding to your stews. Sow in seed trays indoors, ensuring that they have plenty of light and warmth to germinate. That's the thing with obviously starting all the seeds at this time of year. They need the warmth. So if you've not got a heated greenhouse, your windowsill inside will be pretty full from everything. I've only got a small windowsill, so I can't start many things off. I have to wait until March to start a lot of my seeds off. But we have got a few seeds growing at home already. Next up is garlic. Garlic cloves can be planted outdoors in January in well-draining soil. Hardneck varieties like Carcassonne White thrive when exposed to the cold weather. Plant individual cloves with the pointed end facing upwards, spacing them about 10 to 15 centimeters apart so that you can weed in between them and keep them weed free to help grow bigger bulbs. Next up is peas. Early varieties like Meteor can be cold tolerant and can be sown in January for an early crop. These dwarf peas are perfect for small spaces or container gardening. Now, I won't be starting any peas off this early. I usually start mine off around March, April time. But obviously, like it says, early varieties like Meteor can be cold tolerant and can withstand the cold weather. Sow in deep pots or guttering indoors and then transplant outdoors when the weather warms up. Leeks are a long season crop sown in January and shows strong, healthy plants ready for harvest in late summer to autumn. Varieties like Musselburgh are hardy and reliable. Start seeds indoors or in a heated greenhouse to protect them from the frost. So if you wanted some nice big leeks to have in your stew or in soup, feel free to start your seeds off now. Spinach. Winter spinach varieties like Giant Winter are hardy and can grow well in colder conditions. Sowing now provides a crop of tender leaves by early springtime. Sowing trays indoors or under clutches outdoors for the protection from frost. Next up is lettuce, winter varieties. Hardy winter lettuces like Winter Gem or Arctic King can be sown in January for early spring harvest. These varieties thrive in cooler temperatures. Start seeds in modules indoors or in a cold frame. Cabbage, spring varieties. Spring cabbages such as Durham Early and are ideal for sowing in January. To harvest later in the year, they produce tender, flavorful leaves. Sow indoors in the greenhouse, then transplant seedlings when they are large enough. Kale. Kale varieties like Nero de Toscana or dwarf green curled are incredibly hardy and can be started indoors in January for transplanting later. Sow in seed trays or modules and keep them in bright, cool place. That's the thing, like I said, a lot of these are obviously needing the warmth and windowsills to be planted on. That's why I start a lot of my stuff off in March, because I ain't got much room to grow stuff on a windowsill. And a lot of stuff does actually catch up when you start stuff off at the end of March, beginning of April in a greenhouse. Celery. Celery is a slow growing crop that benefits from an early start. Varieties like Golden Self Blanching are well suited for January sowing. Sow seeds in trays indoors, covering lightly with compost and keep in a warm, bright place to germinate. Now, these are the things that I have started. Chilies and sweet peppers. Although not frost hardy, chilies and sweet peppers need a long growing season, making January the perfect time to start them indoors. Varieties like Jalapeno or Bellboy are popular choices. Sow seeds in small pots indoors with a heated propagator or warm windowsill. Tomatoes. Now, I don't start my tomatoes off till March time. Obviously, you can get more of a crop from them if you start them now, but I don't start mine off till March time. They soon catch up. For an early tomato crop, sow seeds indoors in January. Early varieties like Gardener's Delight or Alicante perform well in greenhouse or under cover. Use a heated propagator to ensure good germination and transplant seedlings into larger pots as they grow. Radishes. Radishes, like French breakfast, are quick growing and can be sown indoors or under cover in January for a rapid crop. Sow seeds in modules or directly in a cold frame, keeping the soil moist for best results. So that is all the vegetables that you can actually plant this month. Like I said, a lot of them I don't actually start myself until March time, but if you're wanting a head start and you've got plenty of space or a heated greenhouse, feel free to get started with growing some of those produce. Next up are your fruit. What fruit can be planted and grown at this time of year? First up, strawberries. Sweet and versatile strawberries are perfect for planting in January. Bare root strawberry plants establish quickly, leading to a strong harvest in summer. Plant bare root strawberries in a well-drained soil or containers. Mulch with straw or fleece to protect them from frost. Now, I planted 200 strawberries, but I planted them around October time. So fingers crossed they've all taken and they'll all grow well. Raspberries are low maintenance fruit that thrives in UK gardens. January is ideal time for planting bare root canes, especially autumn fruiting varieties. Choose a sunny location with well-drained soil. Space canes 45 to 60 centimetres apart and provide with stakes or trellises. Now, if you are going to be planting raspberries, make sure you plant them somewhere where you don't mind them getting invasive, because roots grow all over the place and they start popping up here and there and everywhere. The worse than weeds can be raspberries. So just make sure they're in a place that you don't mind them growing really out of control. Blackberries. Blackberries, including thornless varieties, are excellent for planting in January. They grow vigorously and provide abundant summer fruits. That is correct. Now, I have got a thornless blackberry, and wow, it is absolutely amazing. Plant bare root blackberry canes in nutrient-rich soil, ideally against a wall or trellis for support. Gooseberries. Gooseberries are hardy bushes that thrive in cooler climates, producing tart fruits perfect for desserts and preserves. All your currants, your red, white, and black. Again, now is the ideal time for planting your fruit bushes, and that goes the same for blueberries and any fruit bushes because it's good weather, it's wet, it's damp. They'll take root and they can concentrate on growing the roots at this time of year, and then they will concentrate on growing the fruit in the summertime. Rhubarb, while ever it's dormant at this time of year, it's perfect time to get it planted. And remember, do not pick it in its first year. Leave it to settle. However much rhubarb grows on it, don't be tempted to pick it. It needs to concentrate on growing the crown in the base. So pick it the year after. All your fruit trees, apples, pears, plums, cherries, apricots, peaches, nectarines, quinces, figs, grapes, mulberries, loganberries, kiwi, all can be planted at this time of year. Any fruit plant is the best time to plant it at this time of year. If the ground's rock hard, wait until it's a decent time when it's damp, wet to plant them. As I say, now is the perfect time to plant your fruit. Don't plant fruit in summer because it needs to concentrate on growing the roots while the tree is dormant, and then it can concentrate on growing the fruit in the summertime. Flowers. What flowers can be planted at this time of year? Now, these are the ones that I'm going to be listening to because I'm going to be trying so many flowers this year. And yes, I love my flowers now. Sweet peas. Known for fragrant blooms and wide range of colours, sweet peas are a classic choice for UK gardens. Sowing in January gives them a head start for summer flowering. Sow seeds in pots indoors or in an unheated greenhouse. Use deep pots to accommodate their long roots. Now, I've got absolutely loads of sweet peas growing, and I'm going to be ordering a load more. Delphiniums. These tall, striking flowers are ideal for back borders, producing dramatic spikes of blue, purple, and white blooms. Sow seeds indoors in seed trays provide a bright, cool spot to encourage germination. Lupins are popular for the tall, colourful flower spikes and their ability to attract pollinators. Sow seeds indoors in pots, soaking them in water overnight to speed up germination. Now I've got a lot of lupins growing as well, so I'm looking forward to all them growing. Dahlias. Now I need to start trying some dahlias. I've never grown dahlias. Dahlias are a gardener's favourite for the bold, showy blooms in a variety of shapes and colours. January is perfect for starting tubers indoors. Hollyhocks. Hollyhocks add cottage garden charm with their tall spikes of colour, saucer-shaped flowers. Sow seeds indoors in seed trays using compost-rich soil. Place them in a warm, sunny spot. Aquilegias, I've got plenty of those growing, and now is again the perfect time to grow them. Foxgloves, begonias, snapdragons, cosmos, petunias are all perfect for starting now. Next up is geraniums. Now, I absolutely love geraniums, and I'm going to be growing a load more again this year. And obviously, starting them off now means that they'll flower earlier, but obviously, it needs somewhere warm for them to germinate. So I probably won't be able to start mine off till March because I've not got room at home to start them off at home. So geraniums are a staple of UK gardens, producing colourful blooms perfect for pots and borders and hanging baskets. So, and as well with geraniums is that at the end of the year before the frost comes, dig them up, move them to somewhere warm like a greenhouse or a polytunnel, keep them watered in pots, and then you can replant them again next year and they'll flower the year after. Marigolds, calendula, nasturtiums, carnations are all perfect to be planted at this time of year. Alliums, now I've got absolutely loads of alliums in. I've planted loads of allium bulbs, so I'm looking forward to them. And alliums will attract the bees. The bees absolutely love alliums. So if you're wanting to attract the bees to your garden, have a look around and see if you can still get some alliums. It might be a bit too late to be able to purchase them, but you might be able to purchase them online, so have a look around. And zinnias. Zinnias are a heat-loving flower with bold, vibrant blooms that last throughout the summer. Sow seeds indoors in trays with compost and keep in a warm, bright area. So that is all the flowers that can be planted at this time of year. If you can hear banging, it's a firework in the background. But yeah, that is all the flowers that you can plant this month. So there's plenty to be sowing. And like I said, I won't be sowing many of them. I'll be holding off till March, April time, till I can sow them in my greenhouse, which is unheated. So I'll hopefully sometimes get a little heat wave in March, April time, which tends to start the seeds off. And then they seem to look after themselves. And then we plant them out when the frost has gone after May time outside. So make sure you stay tuned for what I'm growing. Feel free to follow my Instagram and my Facebook and my YouTube channel where I share all my videos. Like I said, the only seeds that I've started off this week are my peppers, my chilies, and my onions. That's the seeds that I've started off so far. I'm going to be starting some aubergine off as well, which weren't actually on that list, but I'm going to be starting some aubergine off as well this week, so stay tuned for that. So tomorrow's episode, we'll be talking about all the jobs which need doing in the garden and the allotment in January, so stay tuned for that episode. If you're new to this podcast, make sure you give us a follow and feel free to keep up to date. So until tomorrow's episode, everyone, remember, keep smiling, keep shining, and keep on. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of Gardening with Ben. I hope you've enjoyed our chat and picked up some tips to help your garden and allotment thrive. Don't forget to stay connected with me on all social media for even more gardening inspiration, updates and behind the scenes content. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram and YouTube. Just search Gardening with Ben. Hit that follow button or subscribe button and join our growing community of garden lovers. Until next time, everyone, remember, keep smiling, keep shining, and keep gardening with Ben.